Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Zero Waste Asia Newsroom, your daily update from Geneva on the global plastic city negotiation. Once again, I am Robi Kate Miranda, GAIA Asia Pacific's Communications Officer for Campaigns. And we're here again, of course, with Arpita, GAIA Asia Pacific's Plastics Policy Officer, who is also inside now the plenary hall. So, hi Arpita, today is the last day. Are we leaving with a treaty?
Yes. So first of all, welcome to the plenary. This may be the first and only recap we are doing ever in the history of INC from the plenary itself. So this is where all the action unfolds, guys. With regards to if we are leaving with the treaty, uh, we don't know. We might leave with the treaty text. It might, but it's unlikely that it will be a very strong text, very
Mhm.
ambitious text. It might be compromised version of the text, or it might be um, a very skeletal structure of the text, or it might there might not be any text. So a lot of emotions today, a lot of exhaustion in the room, both among civil society rights holders, but also delegates who have been working extra hours in the nights, long days to develop technical positions, to stand up to the political pressures and keep up the fight. Um, and essentially, we have many different possibilities. One of which is that we leave with a text, but it will need work, and with the agreement that there will be work to to strengthen it, to build it. But as long as it has like a strong foundation, we can work with it. It could also happen that we have nothing to go out. We have rejection of everything that's presented. Third, it's possible that countries are able to mobilize enough support, enough quorum, three-fourths majority or two-thirds majority, what have you, and sort of propose another version of the text. Countries bold enough and are willing to have take that risk and have the political capital to call for a vote, which could really unravel um, the fault lines that we have been facing in the process so far, and that could happen. But it's hard to say that that's very likely, given that we only have today, literally tonight, because plenary starts at 6 p.m. We just had another revised schedule, and we might not have time to go through the procedural unpacking, especially with regards to the decision making room. And lastly, what's also likely is we fail entirely, no text agreed, and we have to, of course, close the plenary at some point because we can't go on doing this forever. And that would really be the time to call out the failure of the entire process, the years of work and the millions of dollars that are being spent. Um, and yeah, we don't know. There could be some other scenarios that I've not thought of, but these are on our minds right now. Robbie?
All right, thank you so much, Arpita. So there's indeed a lot of possibilities that can happen today. But can you tell us more what happened yesterday with the plenary? We also know that there's a new version of Chair's text being released. So yeah, can you tell us more about it?
Yesterday was a very, very tough day for everyone. Um, well, we were hearing of this murmurs. Actually, the thing is, there's so much information that goes around these past couple of days that we don't know what's actually going to happen, what's misinformation, what's just rumors. So we kind of had a wind of a new text coming, and but we were not sure. And the whole most of the whole day was just waiting for a plenary to happen, because until something comes to plenary, it is not official. And until plenary agrees that, yes, this is what we have to do now, nothing moves forward, because you can have million informals and informals and informals, like we've seen in these INCs, which are totally, behind closed doors, intransparent, no access, limited access, even for delegates, all of that problems around this process. Of course, we know you could do all of that, but until you come to the plenary and have a decision, we don't have anything. So we knew that a plenary is expected. Countries had called for it in the Stocktake plenary, I think, which was 9th of August. And so yesterday the plenary was told was about to start around 4. So we were expecting some text to be dropped. We were not sure when, we were not sure how, but eventually the text came through, I think around 2:30 odd. And I can tell you it was, I think, the most difficult moment in INC history, at least for me personally. I can also speak on behalf of a lot of our members who have gone beyond their means and beyond their strengths, and they've given everything to this process. They've given a lot to developing text, developing relationship with delegates, working on their communications and all of that. And so it was heartbreaking because the text was just an insult to us. It was an insult to any kind of right holder. It was insult to anyone asking for justice. And as Global South, we have been asking for justice. So the text is absolutely, something that would come from a petrostate alone, because it did not represent the voices of the majority. And that's something you have to say. We have enough conference room papers released before this INC, but also during this INC, to say that majority has called for ambition, specifically around eliminating hazardous chemicals and products with Article 3. The work we've done with Article 5 on design to push for toxic-free reuse system. On health, Article 19, we have over 120 countries supporting. And similarly on finance, right, 151 countries were clear about that from last INC itself. And we have still the Panama led CRP on production cuts. So we have those numbers, we have that evidence. And yet what we saw in the text was everything is gone. Even the objective is not to end plastic pollution anymore. There is no mention, literally barely any mention of life cycle approach. Article 6 on production cuts is gone. Article 10, which was on just transition, is voluntary. The article on finance is very weak and voluntary, and there's no commitment, real commitment. It talks about decision making in COP also via consensus. So we'll be stuck in the same loophole of reaching nowhere in the implementation. Article 3 on chemicals has lost any mention of chemicals. And so basically it's voluntary text that does not provide any safeguards to any communities, any countries, does not commit for any kind of finance, does not commit for any kind of upstream measures, does not help scale up reuse, does not support this transition for workers. So it's really like the worst possible outcome that one could have. But at the same time, what we saw happen in plenary was, I think, a majority of countries. I remember at least 80 countries calling for rejecting the text. The chair, however, moved along the process as part of, in the spirit of facilitation, in the spirit of compromise, to use that as basis of discussions. So of course we were disappointed. Of course we were disheartened. But then let's remember that we still had countries going to regional consultation, work on this, discuss this further. And all of today, there have been many, many informal informals happening. We have no idea what is going on behind the scenes, but we've been trying to ensure that our ambitious countries are working together, and hopefully they will come up with a way out of this mess, because we really need that to happen. Robi.
All right, thank you so much, Arpita. So we know that a lot of people are unhappy and unsatisfied, and a lot of member states also rejected the chair's text during the plenary yesterday. So what's the plan now? What should we expect for today?
Yeah, I think I spoke about a few things that could happen in the plenary, but what we know, one thing I know for sure, it's going to be a very, very, very long night. Perhaps midnight and early mornings is when we will conclude. And one thing to understand also is that while there are a lot of these behind the scenes discussions and alignments, when countries come here, sometimes they do totally different things than what they discuss. So we still, even countries themselves who have discussed things could throw a new card on the table. So it's a political game at this point, and that's the thing that hurts me the most because we are, going for politics over justice and human rights and protection of our communities. It's not what we should have been doing, but well, this is the process and this is where we are stuck. Multilateralism and its future is also on the line because, in Inger Anderson's own words during the first and the second INC, she said, "This is the biggest environmental treaty after Paris Accord." And so, if this one fails, there is really no way around for at least UN, UNEP in particular, to save face. Lots can go well, lots can go wrong, but my request to anyone who's here or anyone who's watching is to get snacks, get some rest, come here in the evening, and be prepared to not leave because we need to be in the room. As Dr. Sivendra Michael said in the press briefing this afternoon that GAIA hosted, it's very like he was really thankful and he acknowledged the efforts of civil society in supporting countries. And we need to know while we are not on the negotiating table, what we say, what we do, and how we do things matters. So it's time to hang in there, support each other, hold each other, manage our emotions, and be prepared for a long night. Whatever happens, whatever may be the outcome of this process, this is not the end of the world. This is not end of the road. We have a lot of lawyers, a lot of thinkers, strategists working to understand what uh, could be our way out of this mess if we have more situation turning worse for us this night, this midnight. I hope Asia wakes up tomorrow to some good news. Um, and I hope that we have some good outcomes. Nevertheless, our movement is going to leave from here strengthened. We have had a lot of countries who've never been vocal come up and take stage and demand justice. Cambodia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, you know, Philippines, as well as the specific small island developing states, and we have to stay strong for their sake, if not for our own communities. Robbie.
All right. Thank you so much, Arpita, for all these insights. And we are really hoping for a good outcome from this process. And to our viewers, please keep engaging and spreading the word, and let's keep fighting for an ambitious global plastics treaty. For more updates, please follow us at Zero Waste Asia on Instagram and YouTube, and Gaia Asia Pacific on Facebook and LinkedIn. Once again, this is Robbie from Gaia Asia Pacific, and see you in our next or last episode. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.